Hi everyone, and welcome to my latest review. If you haven't already guessed, we're taking a look at Saints Row 4 Super Dangerous Wub Wub Edition. I like the Saints Row games, I really do. They're really fun, especially the more recent ones when they've just gotten crazier and wackier. And when I saw that not only does the game have a dubstep gun in it, but that you could have your own little replica, and I do kind of mean little, I couldn't pass this thing up. You know? The box is bigger than anticipated, but really it makes sense. I guess I'll go over it real quick. You have this lovely box art up front. Hold on. There we go. Bam. I have the 360 version. Just a nice Saints Row 4 on either side, carrying the image over. And around the back you get a nice shot of all the fun stuff you get. You get the Commander-in-Chief edition, which really just gives you the America gun, which is more or less a gun made out of guns, which is as much fun as it sounds. And the Screaming Eagle, which is kind of a really cool-looking... What were they? Like a Stag VTOL from Saints Row 3. VTOL. So, with that, nothing on the bottom. Which I actually kind of like. I like it nice being nice and clean. Same thing on the top. Let's crack this thing open then. I wonder if the side I want is up. Hey, it is. Bam! Yeah, just fall down. Here we see Saints Row 4 Super Dangerous Wub Wub Edition. You know, instead of moving this thing, let's just tighten the shot up a bit. Oh, the framing's wrong. Yeah. I'm ruining everything now. The world will collapse because of my poor camera work. Alright. So here's the thing. Here's the whole thing. How cool is that? Well, maybe not the packaging, but I do like nice packaging. I mean, the nice plastic molded trays holding everything in place. They could have... they could have just as easily skipped and just had a bunch of, like, lame-looking cardboard, but I like that they understand what you're getting into. They understand that, you paid $100 for a special edition of a game, you may as well package it nice. There's two trays. There's this upper tray here, which, you can tell, has these four things popped into it. That has the game itself. I could have popped that out first, but I'll just do this now. Come on! There we go. Here's the game. I believe the Commander-in-Chief edition has... I believe this box art's exclusive to that. It's pretty great. You get to be the president in this game. And that's not really a spoiler or anything. It happens very quickly. Yeah, probably within the first... very, very soon. It's like it's the first major event that happens in the game. So that's not a spoiler. I'm hoping to not do any spoilers. I have played the game for a couple of hours. It's part of the reason I didn't get this out on Tuesday. Amongst various other things. But enough about that. Let's check out all the fun stuff inside. Now, I know, everyone's waiting to see the dubstep gun. I'm going to handle that last. I'm going to flip this thing down so I can get things out easier. And first, let's take a look at the Johnny Gat statue. Now, if you haven't played Saints Row 3, I guess this is a spoiler, but if you haven't played Saints Row 3, what are you doing checking this out? Get through that one before you get through this one. Trust me on that. The city you're in is... I don't want to give away spoilers. But I recently finished Saints Row 3. I didn't pick it up at launch or anything, a few years ago. I finished it, literally the night before I got this. And going from that into this has actually been a really cool experience. But let's move on to the lovely Johnny Gat statue. Aww. Look at that. Isn't that great? Now, it's, of course it's plastic. It's painted to be kind of a little marbled. And there is a weight in the bottom. So this thing does actually have, weight. It's got some heft to it. I don't have to worry about it falling over accidentally or anything. I'm shaking my wobbly-ass table here. It doesn't even move. It's very nicely sculpted. You know, you got Johnny's iconic head there. The Saints fleur-de-lis is, you know, carved into the jacket. He's got, his chain is molded in. Just all sorts of beautiful detail all over. You know, it's just a statue that sits there, so I'm happy they actually took the time to sculpt it out. I'm sure other companies, other games, something like that, something like this, they'd really half-ass it. But this is pretty damn nice, I gotta say. And of course it came, you know, in a little plastic bag of sorts to keep from getting scuffed up and shipping and whatnot. Let's move Johnny off to the side. Next fun little touchable thing. That doesn't work at all. Get the Dubstep Apocalypse button. Nice, it's not glass, of course. Nice plastic door on top, because you don't want to accidentally set off Doomsday, do you? And it does, well, technically it requires the key to open. The key has the grooves or whatever for a key carved into it, but they're not important, really. If you stick anything in there and turn it, it'll open the thing up. Get a quick look at that. A lovely Saints fleur-de-lis keychain. It's not metal, which is a little disappointing. It's, you know, the vacuum silver, whatever, plastic. Which kind of stings, because if it were real metal, I'd probably wear this around, at least for a couple of weeks. But with this, I wouldn't want to do that, because there's a very good chance of just, through friction over time, just wearing off all the nice silvery bits. But, let's get onto this thing. Got a nice Saints Row 4 emblazoned on the top. That's carved into the underside, so you don't have to worry about messing it up on top. Key goes in, turns to the side, and there you go. And I know it's just a plastic box opening, but when you put the key in, turn it, and then flip that open, it kind of gives you that Doomsday button feel. You know, any big red button should be housed like this. There's an on-off switch. No indicator noise or anything like that. Before I hit the big red button, I'll point out, it takes a couple of button cell batteries with there's one of those little like try me tab kind of things in there. I love that they bothered. This is on the bottom of the thing. This is normally completely unseen. You don't have to worry about it at all. But I love that the speaker grill is a freaking Saints fleur-de-lis. That's just awesome. Oh, the key fell out. Yeah, see, that's what I mean by no ridges. If this key will just fall right out. So, let's do this. And I'm not 100% sure what all of that is. Like, at least all the words. I know at the beginning he says, Doomsday device activated. Counts down from 5. Then, of course, a bunch of fun dubstep noises. Then he says, target something. And it's not enough syllables for annihilated or eliminated. It says, like he says, target, and I don't know what and that doesn't make any sense to me. But that's what he says. That's all it says. If I hit the button again, the exact same thing will go off. You know, it's a one-trick pony, but it's a nice trick. I really enjoy it. I haven't figured out a good place to put this yet. My desk is too chaotic. Nowhere else quite seems right for it, so I'm keeping this in the box for now until I figure out a nice place to store it. Let's lock that up, even though it doesn't technically matter. There we go. And I'll put that back in for now, along with a lovely little key. Alright guys, let's do the big one. Now, of course, I've already opened this before doing this. I've been playing the game since Tuesday. There are a set of batteries sitting right in here. I have taken this out. I have installed them. Here is your dubstep gun. It's, I believe it's supposed to be about a foot long. What have I got that's a good size comparison? Always prepare before a review, kids. Makes life a lot easier. I haven't reviewed it yet. But, crossing the camera, here it is with the Kamen Rider Wizard Whiz Sword Gun. Whiz Sword Gun? I don't know. It's a weird, goofy, made-up word. You know, so the Whiz Sword Gun is almost as long as my arm. This thing's about... not quite. About as long as my forearm, almost. I think it's like a... it's supposed to be like a 12-inch replica, so I'm guessing that's a foot. Put my Wizard Sword Gun back. And one thing I haven't seen people talk about... oh, hold on a second, I'm showing you the wrong side. What a fool. Yeah, this side has a bunch of the fun stuff on it, but it's, you know, where all the screw holes are, you don't get the arm, the needle. I think they're both kind of right. Now, one thing I haven't seen people talk about is that... hold on, like this. These little guys, these guys here, and all four of these little guys move. You know, you can adjust them to however you want them to look. These guys are a little trickier because they're an indentation. They're not... it's kind of hard to get a shot of that. They're an indentation. It doesn't stick up or anything. So you kind of have to stick your finger in there or something. After playing the game, I was a little annoyed to find out this isn't quite as detailed. But it's plenty of stuff that I think I'm just going to end up doing on my own. In the game, the dubstep gun, this and this, there are a bunch of wires coming out of this little black protrusion-y, John. Comes out of the bottom of this. And they come around to the similar looking piece down here. So I'm probably just going to get a couple, you know, handful of wires, maybe glue them in. I might go so far as to drill tiny holes so it looks like they're coming out of it. I don't know. The rings around these should have red, yellow, blue. This should have a sticker on it, because this is actually, this little red line doesn't do anything on its own. It's actually the, I can't remember the name for it because I don't know audio terms. The VU meter, you know, it responds to the music. But other than that, well, the handle's supposed to be blackish. You know, there's paint would have been nice on this, more paint, but at the end of the day, it's still really cool to have one of these. I love seeing this thing sitting around. And I know you guys aren't really entirely here to hear me just blather on about some of the nice little physical details. You guys want to see me fire off a dubstep gun. Now, I'm going to cut the lights in here for that, because there are some LEDs, and this is a speaker, this is a laser pointer. This is nothing. Just molded in speaker grill, or face. The way it works is, when you press the big red button down here on the trigger, it starts the dubstep song. And it will play through that, the one from the game, and it will play through that once. Now, while you're doing that, you can do whatever you want with the trigger button, because whenever it's held down, there are 3 LEDs here, and mirrored ones on the other side. 3 here, 3 here. And the laser pointer will go off whenever the trigger is held down. And holding the trigger down doesn't start the song over again or anything, so you can kind of just play around with it like that. So hold on one second. I'm going to cut these lights. Stay. I will cut these lights and we will check that out. I know, dark and spooky. Oh, I'm happy the laser's coming out. You release the trigger, it stops. And that's one run through the song. Oh, I'm so sorry, I just kicked that. I hope no one got motion sickness. Though, that would be kind of funny. Anyway. That's the dubstep gun. That's pretty much all it does. But it's so much fun. You know, every so often I just see it sitting on a shelf. I'm like, and I pick it up and blow through the song once. You know, blasting around my house. Well, my room. I don't walk around the whole house like that. For one, the song doesn't last long enough. Which kind of stinks, but it's okay, because it's long enough that you can have some fun with it. And I guess I should take a minute to talk about the game. It's pretty awesome. Now, I'm a fan of Saints Row, so of course I'm going to think it's awesome. But I personally am not a big fan of realistic violence. When I can't really play Grand Theft Auto games because I don't like killing people like that. And there's no whimsy or fun or goodness really in a lot of the GTA games. You're kind of a horrible person all the way through, no matter what means and conflicted motives they give you. Saints Row from 3 on is, well, okay, 3's pretty murder-tastic. But it's so goofy and wacky that you can't take it as realism. It's obvious that I'm walking around a cartoon world, blowing up all sorts of ridiculous stuff. And Saints Row 4 takes that to a whole new level by putting the protagonist, in kind of like a Matrix version of Steelport, the city from the 3rd game. And that shouldn't be a spoiler. This is stuff we've all heard of. And I'm sure you've all heard that because of this, you get wacky superpowers. They're so much fun. The first ones you get are a super jump and a super sprint. I don't even use cars anymore in the game. I'm just jumping, flying, gliding, running up buildings. It's so much fun, and it's all combined with regular Saints stuff. So, you've still got, you've got new activities, some kind of old ones, some kind of reskinned and stuff, but it's the way it works, it's the style, it's the design. It's been so much fun. Also, just remember this, something I gotta get out there. If you weren't aware, Stan Bush's The Touch, that classic song from the original Transformers movie back in the 80s, it's in the game. It's in the game, it's just on the classic radio station, or the oldie radio station. So Saints Row 4 is a game that will allow you to blow up aliens using a gun made out of guns, while Stan Bush's The Touch plays in the background. I can't describe to you how much fun that was. I cannot in words get across how great that was. I was singing along at the song and I hardly know the words. It was great. I've been having a ton of fun with Saints Row 4, and I'm really glad I picked up all the touchy-feely stuff, all the fun little physical bits. Because it's been worth it. And after playing through, I really feel that after playing through Saints Row 3, you kind of earned this. Especially if you're a big fan. If you're a big fan of Saints Row and you got through 3, you really want this. I know it's just a hunk of plastic, but it means something to me. I love having it sit there on top of my shelf. It's great. Well, I believe that's all I've got to say on Saints Row without getting into, Saints Row 4, without getting into spoilery, here's how I've been doing so far territory. So, with that, we're going to cut it. If you are a fan of Saints Row, this was a really cool thing to pick up. It's just great. It's a lot of fun. I really like it, and I personally highly recommend it. I will stop babbling, and that will be the review for today. Have a nice day.